Hello everyone, my name is FlareBlitzed and welcome back to Missing Time. In the last time around we got both Shizuyo's and Ember's bad ending. I thought it'd been like an alternative bad ending to Shizuyo's route, but somehow that's also like a bad ending for Ember, even though she was like the only one that survived. These I feel like are still very important decisions in chapter 1. Like this could hold the key to bad endings and happy endings in the later chapters. Side of Ember, Shizuyo doesn't seem as angered by that. Hey now, we're off a tangent here. This is a different scene. I don't think I could be this relieved to lapse back into a familiar habit as simple as gaming. We rarely game on weeknights though, so Shizuyo's sudden text is a bit of a surprise. Whatever. The stress is getting out of hand. There's no guilt in trying to distract ourselves for the time being. Ember has his co-op RPG titled The Wandering Willow. Okay. Then she wants to try if something's new for Wandering Willow. What could that possibly be? A title of Wandering no, that's a film. Wandering Dog. No, it just could be something else entirely. Could be something else completely off track, but it's called an RPG anyways. Perhaps Ember is tired of Shizuyo charging into enemy lines with our usual shooter game. That's what you call of Booty. That's why she's willing to try something a bit more peaceful. Light banter flows between us as we set up the game. Ah, isn't that brilliant? We get inside of the TV. No headset today, Shizuyo? Nah, Emmy's already gone to bed and her room is all the way down the hall, so... Cool. So what are we doing today? Not sure. It's a new game on the market. It's like an MMORPG, but smaller scale. So explore, level up, do quests. Pretty much. Despite being a co-op game, The Wandering Willow gives us a pretty nice variety of characters to choose from. Shizuyo immediately jumps at the rogue character while Ember is quick to set a barbarian character. Once again, I feel like I have no choice but to play the medic role. Medic? Who's gonna be there when you're all down? Medic? But I don't want to be the squishy one. But you're the most important character because when they're charging off to battle, you can heal them. And stuff. You're always squishy. Hey, just because I'm cuddly doesn't mean I'm squishy. Just go for cleric. Cleric? I think it's another word for medic. Yeah, male armor class with healing and male moves. Hey, that would make all of us melee sorry. After a bit of arguing, Shizuyo finally huffs. Fine, I'll play the Necromancer. Necromancer's pretty strong though. Yeah, yucky too. Hey, we'll have our advantages and disadvantages. Just because a Necromancer looks dead doesn't mean it's bad. The plot is pretty straightforward. We're a band of heroes summoned to defeat an evil warlord who is seeking to control the world with his hordes of undead army. Doesn't that mean I'm the bad guy too, since I deal with the necromancy stuff? You, just roll with it. We're all heroes in this, whether if we're necromancy or an angel or an elemental mage, however you want to call it, fine. I'm not good with Easter eggs, by the way, guys, and if there are any Easter eggs in this game which I am not getting through, then I do apologise. You can absolutely slaughter me in the comments if I don't get anything. We skim through the introductions quickly, all of us familiar with the system on how to interact with NPCs, picking up things, inspecting them, looting, etc. You know, we're not beginners when it comes to games, we know what kind of things are going on here. When is it time for combat though? We are rewarded with Shizuyo's loud wail. Oh gosh. This game is turn-based? Yeah, it's written in the game's description. Did you not read the manual before picking up the... Oh wait, Ember's the one that chose the game. Well, nobody reads... Yeah, they do read out. It's how you actually get the basics of the game, the fundamentals down. Seriously? Shizuyo sticks her tongue out at the camera. Meh. Yeah, it's tongue. Though you're more into fast-paced stuff, Ember. Well, you ruin fast-paced stuff every time now. Suck it up. Yeah, let's go, Ember. Sheesh, touchy much. Let's just try this out. Exactly, now we're in an emerald forest. It isn't as bad as Shizuyo makes it out to be. Sure, the combat is pretty slow, but we honestly needed the time to adjust to all the spells, effects and such. I only have one healing spell for starters, and surprisingly I am doing some decent melee damage. It's easy to fall into a rhythm. It's easy to laugh when Shizuyo misfires her spells or when Ember attacks a bit too enthusiastically, or when I stumble on a heal. It's easy to forget everything that's been going on. The incident, the fight, the scare with Chiharu. I swallow back anything depressing I could have said. What's the point? We're enjoying ourselves. We're allowed to this at least, right? Exactly. So, how's everyone? What a question. Of course Shizuyo's the quickest to recover. Emmy's been having a bunch of business meetings lately, so I'm most left to my own, which is great. Business meetings? Yes, something about new developments at the town's outskirts and such. Touch. Oh wow, I didn't know the shrine is involved with so many things in Komachi. Which Ember is very displeased with. We sink into silence. A brief moment of discomfort spreads among us before Shizuyo speaks again. We are a pretty big deal after all. Before our grandmother, most of the duties involved the ownership were just formalities. Grandmother changed the structure though, and mother enforced it. Great, so grandmother is the law and the mother is the police that enforces the law. And then what is Emery? Also an enforcement? Okay. The scowl on Ember's face deepens. Every time Emery is brought up, it's like that, it's just the thing. But she still hasn't said a word. I chew my lower lip, unsure on how to proceed. Let's talk about school. Man, exam season is going to be painful. I burst out before I could control myself. Both Ember and Shazami blink in surprise, but the latter is, as always, quick to recover. Aren't they always? Can't wait for summer break, honestly. You won't get a summer break, Shizuyo. Did you not witness the other two endings we've been through? You think you're going to get a summer break? You're going to get a break for eternity. You're going to rest for eternity. Okay, let's move on. Don't you usually... I mean, you were just complaining about the heat a couple of days ago. Yeah, but I'd rather take the days off with the heat rather than slave myself away at school. Well, I think the worst of both worlds is being in an exam room and the room itself is ridiculously hot. People are acting crazy this summer and the exams are drawing to a close as well. That is an inside Discord joke and I will not appreciate it. Lovely. Lovely dovely. Bravo. Thank you for implementing that into the game, developers. Remember that guy who put on a miniskirt and ran around the school the other day? That was funny. I roll my eyes. Any plans for summer, Shizuyo? Well, not really. Usually I just sleep myself away. But Chiharu was texting us about some sort of vacation. Yeah, she had an idea about it when... I cut my words off abruptly, swallowing a shake my head. What do you guys want to do? It's more about what you want to do, Flare. I'm sure you'd love all of us to attend, right? Being alone with so many beautiful girls. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Shizuyo? Shameless. Now, Ember. When you say that, you sound like Emery. Don't mention the word Emery. No, don't mention the name Emery. Fine, sheesh, you guys are no fun. Shizuyo, there's more to this than you are letting on. I'd love to go, but Emmy is going to be fussy over it. Oh, why? Because she's gotta babysit me, da. But whatever, I'm sure I can convince her. Eventually, if Chiharu helps, I think it can work. I'm sure Chiharu will be happy to get everyone to go. I mean, there's no reason for Emery to miss out on it too, right? You can say that. We proceed on quietly with the game. Aside from some bickering between Emery and Shizuyo over which path and quest to take, it's been relatively peaceful. I fall into the lull of it, occasionally humming to their requests, demands for healing. Content to let time flow by, sorry. Until a question inadvertently catches my attention. Hey Flare, how come you never asked Chiharu to join our gaming sessions? Oh? That catches me off guard, and ultimately makes me use a wrong spell. Coughing to hide my embarrassment, I answer a now steadily amused Shizuyo. Chiharu doesn't really play games. It takes a while for her to get used to new things, so she gets flustered easily. I don't mind though, we can teach her. Yeah, but how do I say this? I did ask the other day, but she got all stammery and declined. Maybe she wants maybe she wants to get you all to herself. Shizuyo! Dude! I kid. Chiharu's quite sheltered, huh? She is. Even if her parents aren't always around, Chiharu is too meek to step out of line. Apparently she had a hard time overseas. Huh? She told you that? Yeah? Don't tell me she never told you. Well, she told me some of it, but she was always uncomfortable about the topic. Maybe it's more comfortable talking around somebody of the same gender. Oh? Let us now move on. Let's not talk more about Chiharu. I think that's a no-no for me, Captain. That's going to trigger red flags. In the end, the gaming session ends on a somewhat somber note. I can't say I had high expectations for this either. It's been a terrible period, so I'm simply grateful that we were able to squeeze in some fun. Just as I throw on my pants, the phone starts ringing. There's another word for trousers. It's Ember. Yo, so I did some research last night and I think I've got some pretty important leads on hand. Oh? What are they? It ain't something to tell, more like to show. Can you pop over later today? I'll blink at the sudden invitation. Ember's got me pretty curious now. What to do? We've got a different option. We'll stay at home. Again, I'm still wondering how we got the USB stick, because Shizuyo would only be able to gain access to this USB stick if she was the one who was able to get the boxes down. Unless she somehow quickly got it from the box while it was being in the room itself. But, oh, for goodness sake, Shizuyo, how'd you do this? How'd you do this on us? And we can't even select done as well, which is a hidden thing. I swear that is impossible to get, because I think I've been through this game quite enough times now to realise that this done option is a bit done hiddenly. Talking about the experiments rather than the Onishi or Ember. So, Ember is not involved in, or so nobody knows? Nobody else knows? Emery is not involved then. Let's put some faith in Emery. Shizuyo shakes her head, brows drawn together. Mother probably thought nobody else was capable of carrying it out. I know she probably hoped Emery would be able to, She pauses, biting her lower lips. Shizuyo's stare is heavy on the documents. A shadow passes her eyes. These papers. They should have been destroyed, all things considered. Hell, the experiments were destroyed. Knowing her, they were probably left behind for Emery. What? I got these from the basement of our shrine. Only the heir, the head of a clan, is allowed there, and only the head of a clan can give access to others. That's Emery. These files weren't even that difficult to find once I got myself into the chambers. They are too detailed, but they give a general idea. An Onishi, a real Onishi, would know what to do. It feels like a hand has reached inside my lungs and squeezed out all the air. But Emery wouldn't do that, would she? I don't know what scares me more, the possibility of Emery opening the experiments again, or the uncertainty in Shizuyo's eyes. I believe in Emery. I don't think Emery would do it. I believe she wouldn't be that cruel. Not for the sake of something so uncertain. There is a glint in Shizuyo's eyes, something I can't quite read. She studies me for a long time. The intensity of her stare makes me feel uncomfortable, and I try not to look away. Do you know her well enough to decide that? You know what? I think you're lying through your teeth. Honestly, I'm scared. Emery has always put the interest of the clan, her duties above everything else, above everyone else. Shizuyo raises an eyebrow, a smirk playing her lips again. And here I thought you were completely oblivious. I take offense to that, thank you. She raises her hands, palms up in surrender, but all mirth is wiped from her face when she looks at me again. You got that right, though. Emery wouldn't hesitate if she knew this is expected of her. Which brings up the question, why hasn't she done it yet? It's my turn to scrutinize her expression. For once, Shizuyo is actively calling out Emery. Despite her perpetual mischievousness, Shizuyo has always been on Emery's side. Something's not quite right here. Then again, who wouldn't be scared and paranoid if they discovered a terrible family secret over the weekend? Why do you think? My best guess is because there is a shortage of experiments. I wince her choice of words, but talk regardless. From what I gathered, the subjects they used were orphans, so there wouldn't be any questions asked when they disappeared. Indeed, Shizuyo's expression withers. Reminds you of anything? Ember. I can't believe it took me that long to realise. Once more, if I was sitting down, I would have sunk into the floor like a sack of wet cement. Chest heavy, I stare at Shizuyo with fearful, bewildered eyes. The experiments happened right in front of us. The cases? Oh god, Shizuyo, it's Emery. She inhales deeply and lets out the air out of her lungs in a long, shaky puff. There isn't much I can do besides watching her with scared eyes. Too shell-shocked to say another word. When she finally composes herself, Shizuyo clasps her hands on the table, preventing them from trembling. When I went down to the basement, there doesn't seem to be any experiments that have taken place there for a long time, so it's either she hasn't done anything yet, or it's taking place somewhere else. Elsewhere. If it has been happening, then the latter makes more sense, considering you're right there and she doesn't want to let you know. I've never been interested in anything regarding the family to begin with. But yeah, you're right. This is sickening. It feels like I've swallowed a bundle of wreathing snakes. There's more to everything than it seems. Shizuyo sighs at the silence between us drags out. So, this is all we already know so far. Carefully, Shizuyo schools her expression into a mask of nonchalance. Perhaps it is required of an Onishi to know how to control their emotions after all. I'll have to get back to the shrine before anyone finds out about this. She gathers all of the documents into a neat pile, putting papers back into its respective folders. I watch this as if in a trance. Before I could stop myself, a question bursts out. Why don't you just take pictures of them? If I did that, would you believe me? Hell, even I didn't believe it when I read through them the first time, or the time after that, because documents could easily be forged, no? Are you accusing me of faking everything? Taken aback by her cold stare down, I blink furiously. I'm not accusing you of anything. Sorry if that came out wrong. There are just so many things to take into consideration, and I... Save it. Clamp my mouth shut. At the moment, there's no questioning Shizuyo's lineage. The way she looks at me freezes the very marrow to my bones. The line of her jaws sets together. subtly working out her anger before her shoulders relax slightly. I see that this has been a mistake. Hmm? Now just wait a minute here. I'm not saying that you're lying or faking any of this. I'm just saying that it's unbelievable. I get it. Silence. Thinking of the files that we have not spoken about, I press my lips into a thin line, knowing this might be a terrible idea. Why haven't you told me, Shizuyo? And Shizuyo goes quietly again. Something hardens in her eyes. Personally, I don't like that look, but I square my shoulder and stare right back at her. Aren't we getting bored? I'm serious, Shizuyo. What more do you know? Depends on what you want to know. You're answering in circles. Hey, you're more interesting than I thought you were. You keep saying that, don't you? I narrow my eyes. Fine, I'll answer your questions, but I don't think the setting is fitting for this. After all, the walls have eyes here in this town. I grind down my teeth. Are you free this weekend? I know this place. Nice food, lovely atmosphere, 0% of being tailed. Are you asking me out on a date? What if I am? Ah, so this is the other way round. Last time it was the protagonist asking Shizuyo out, and now Shizuyo's asking the protagonist out. What the hell? Where did this come from? If I say yes, would you be honest with me? Depends on your attitude. And a tear. Wear something nice. That definitely sounds like a trap, but I answered before I could chicken out. Alright. Then I guess it's a date. Oh great, this swooping and kissing my lips again. She flies out of my reach immediately, winking as she waltzes for the door. I'll text you the time and place. Get home safe. I sit there stunned, feeling my cheeks heating up. I unconsciously touch the place. Yeah. What have I got myself into? I don't know. I don't know whatsoever. I wouldn't lie. Oh, this place again? I've already said 0 chance of being tailed. Chapter 3. Well, this is not going well. We look like we're on course for a bad end again. Yep, that ended badly. Bad end. Gosh, this could be more difficult than I thought, getting this good ending. There's got to be other options that I'm missing out on. Let's start with this. Talk more about Chiharu. Yeah, she didn't settle well into the dorm from what I've heard, but her dad insisted on leaving on Chiharu to stay. To build character, he said. I hope Modi gives her a hard time. Chiharu wouldn't have taken well to that. Yeah, I hope not. Why did her parents, move Chiharu out of town in the first place? I shrug, growing uneasy with the topic. Probably because they decided to move as well. Chiharu's family be well off for as long as I remember. They're a long line of business tycoons, a pretty prominent family, and her dad is the direct descendant, so they ought to move sooner or later. I'm surprised they stayed as long as they did. Wow, I never knew we had another old family here in Komachi. Not exactly. Chiharu's family moved here when she was like 4? Something gleams in Shizuyo's eyes. So Chiharu wasn't born here. Makes sense. Yeah, my mom and her mom went to the same university, so that was why Chiharu was entrusted to my grandpa all the time. So both of your parents are from Komachi? Not my dad. He moved here with mom after they got married. I see. I wonder why Chiharu's parents moved to Komachi in the first place. There's like nothing here. Surprisingly, Ember had to answer to that, looking conflicted. Well, they're business tycoons. Lots of investments have been funneled into this place over the years. Timing matches, so... You're right. I mean, it's right around the time our mother started opening Komachi to the idea of investments and stuff. I wonder if she knew Chiharu's past. We'll never know, unless we ask them. Shizuyo shrugs. It's not like any of our business anyways. You're right. Let's entrust Ember with this bit of information. Actually, yeah, let's go with Ember this time. Let's do it. Let's not stay at home and ask about the USB stick. After some consideration, I decided to go to Ember's place. With what happened to Jasmine, plus Ember's outburst at our most recent meeting, I'm on the fence about continuing my activities with the occult club, if we can still call it that. But I know Ember would be gutted if I don't show, and I have to admit I've grown rather fond of her. Ember has been nothing but nice to me and Chiharu, despite her flares in attitude. If anything, I at least should hear her out. Besides, if I'm honest myself, I'm really curious about where our investigation would lead to. And so here I am, heading to Ember's place. This is the first time I've actually got invited into Ember's home. The club president seems to keep most of her activities in town. I heard from Chiharu that Ember lives alone, but there's no explanation about it. It's not my place to ask either, so I never did it. But I have to admit, I'm incredibly curious about that. Ember lives at the town's outskirts, providing a breathtaking view of the open field and rustling forest. The air here is clear of the hustle bustle in town, and I find myself enjoying it immensely. Yo, you're early! Hello, Ember. Stepping aside so I can enter, Ember grins. Good timing though, I'm about to make lunch. Come help me. Typical Ember pushiness, chuckling. I follow her into the kitchen. Hey, you got the same kitchen that we do. Except it's cleaner. Delicious aroma fills the house. There is bacon in the oven, pasta is cooking on the stove, some herbs and onions are sizzling in the pan. Oh, this smells so good. What are you cooking? Mac and cheese, baby. Huh? Aren't those a lot of ingredients for just mac and cheese? This is fancy mac and cheese. Chiharu gave me the recipe. Oh, nice. Fancy how? I'm making heroics for the sauce, and then 5 types of cheese mixed in with smoked paprika and nutmeg. The bacon in the oven are thick cut and applewood smoked. I drizzled a bit of golden syrup to caramelize it while baking. The onions and garlics are caramelized as well to mix with panko for a crispy topper. That's a lot of components. Wow, I'm getting crazy hungry now. Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Ember's kitchen isn't as spacious as Chiharu's, but is unexpectedly neat, if not well loved. Per instruction, I fetched the cheese packages from her fridge. Say, Ember, do you say you like the flavour of fresh meat more than anything? Why mac and cheese? Isn't that a bit ominous? You remember? Well, it's an interesting recipe. Plus, Chiharu said you... She mumbles something under her breath that I can't quite catch. No, she's a bit embarrassed now. Yeah, I chose to go with Ember's lunch rather than Chiharu's lunch. Shrugging, I returned to the tasks at hand. Fortunately, I've had the experience of helping someone else in the kitchen for years, so things moved along quite nicely. Since it's a nice day out, Ember wants to have a lunch at the porch. As I help bring everything outside, I can't help but notice the many pictures of her family scattered throughout the house. Then my assimilations of her not remembering her family are incorrect from one of her previous episodes. That plagued my curiosity yet again. Ember. Yeah? We settled down on the porch, each with a steaming portion of mac and cheese overlooking the green field. Our knees are close enough to touch. You love your family a lot, huh? Yeah, they were loving people. Ah, that answers a lot of questions, Ben. I feel a bit guilty. Ember's sudden laughter brings my attention back to her. You remind me of Pa. He was really caring, even though he could be such an airhead sometimes. Ah, thanks. I suppose I should be a little offended considering Ember more or less called me an airhead, but the full-on smile on her lips stops me as I stay quiet watching her pushing her food around. I think you two would have gotten along great. Placing a hand on Ember's shoulder, I smile for her. I'm sure we would have. Ah. Lunch is finished in relative silence while I appreciate the food and peaceful chivalry. Ember called me here for a business after all. Alright, so what do you want to show me? The scroll scrunching up her forehead doesn't bode well. So, it's gonna sound crazy. She hesitates. I raise an eyebrow, prompting. I mean, the entirety of the club is crazy, but do it go on. Ember scoffles at me, but her shoulders relax a tinsy bit. Got words from a source saying some pretty far-fetched things, but aren't entirely impossible. It isn't like Ember to beat around the bush, but I don't interrupt and simply watch her. Whatever Ember was told must have been difficult to hear. I can't believe I'm saying this. The tips I got said that the murders were fake. Oh yeah, difficult to hear indeed. Excuse me, what? That was my reaction too. I can't imagine. Well, the tips said the victims were just ploys to safely remove them from the town and away from everything that they got involved with the local gang. The listeners dead or missing, so there isn't anything to trace back to them, and their families either moved or are out of town. Is this source reliable? I don't believe it. Silence pauses between us and I stare at an increasingly uncomfortable Ember, my jaws hang ajar. That's ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. I knew you were going to say that. What am I supposed to say, Ember? Oh, awesome. I guess we're just being idiots after all. We have spent so much time looking into this mess, Ember. I know. Not just us, but the people before you as well. Are you saying that this might just be, I don't know, an elaborate prank? That's not what I'm saying. Shut up, would you? I clamp my mouth down as she snaps. As ridiculous as this whole tip of her sounds, I don't want to test Ember's anger. After a moment of hesitation. So what are you going to do now? I trust the source not to lie. Not to me, you know. But we still need to verify the information. How are you planning to do that? She cuts herself off, seeming uncertain again. This isn't going well, is it? We can't confirm with the cops, you know. They ain't gonna give us anything. And I've been trying to contact the families. Wasn't happening either. I guess the town's archives are no good too, huh? Yeah. Anything that's available to public isn't gonna get us anywhere. As vague as the lead is, it's still disheartening to hear that it's another dead end. Feels like whoever's behind us, they are set on stopping our advances at every turn. And they are infuriatingly good at that. Our options are terribly limited. Emma bites on her lip, looking conflicted again. She's obviously contemplating something. And chances are I am not going to like what she's about to suggest. There's one thing I can think of. Flare, do you trust me? I'm a bit scared, but I trust you. Her frown deepens. I'm thinking we could check the graveyard. The graves, you know, down under and... yeah. My very blood freezes in my veins. I need a minute. If I'm not already sitting down, I probably would have fallen into a heap then. Okay, alright, I need a minute to process this. I took a deep breath, my mind swirling madly at the suggestion. Ember didn't elaborate on the idea, but it's enough for me to draw conclusions. I have to swallow back the urge to gag. You want us to dig up the graves? Yeah. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked. It's a crazy idea, but Her hands twist together. Her expression agonized. It's clear Ember doesn't want to do this any more than I do, but she's torn between wanting to get to the bottom of the truth and doing morally questionable things. Maybe it wouldn't be as morbid as I think it would be. Maybe it's just some plaque checking and number matching, or even comparing the ledgers. But I'm not naive enough to believe that. Do you really want us to do this? It's not about want. It's about need. But look in her eyes makes me feel sick. This must be the reason why Ember told me to come later in the day. She wants to carry this out now. Tonight. Act fast and unpredicted. That way no one can move before her and stop her for her usual abrasiveness and violation. Ember planned this out pretty well, if not abrupt. Doesn't make it any less crazy though. Judging by the way Ember folds her arm round herself, it's apparent that she doesn't feel that great about this either. You don't have to stay, you know. She forces words out of her teeth. I stare at her dumbfounded. But you called me here. Ember heaves out a sigh. Hunching over, she stares furiously at her toes. I just called you out here. Never asked for your consent on this. You don't have to stay, you know. But she doesn't finish the sentence. Oh. We haven't got the right requirements to say alright. Right. I'm not down for this. While sympathetic to her plight, I know I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I agreed to help Ember. So I would assume that the only way we could get that option is if we learn more about Ember in Chapter 1. I'm glad she has the sense to offer me a way out instead of trying to force me to follow her decision. I'm sorry, Ember. I can't do this. She nods, still not meeting my eyes. You ain't gonna stop me. It's your choice. I don't think anything I can say can stop you at this point. Nah, we'll say it's your choice. Ember nods again but doesn't say anything. I take a hesitant step away, half expecting for her to stop me. When that doesn't come, I heave out a long sigh, both relieved and uncertain. Good luck. I'll see you later. She's either mad or disappointed, but there's nothing I can do about it now. The ending, well, that part was locked out. Turning, I retreat from Ember's front yard. And that just reminds me of something. The USB option. If the option was blanked out before we ever read any of them, then it would have been possible to get that if we had some very specific conditions met down. Heart thumping in my veins, I walk away from Ember's place. It's just unacceptable. The option that she would presented me, if the lead required her to confirm in such a morbid way, it's obviously not worth it. But what if things aren't as terrible as it seems? What if the tip was right? What if nobody truly died? But there's also the first option we had with Ember, as in like, not like I don't believe it, but it's not like I'm not trusting in your source. Will that give us a right to dig up graves though? Is finding out the truth worth it? Before I could decide, however, my phone rings. Startled, I stare at the screen. Is it Shizuyo? It's Shizuyo, yes. I answer the call. Hello. Hey, what's up? I just visited Ember. I hesitate, not knowing if I should tell Shizuyo why I was at Ember's place in the first place. Oh, the conversation suddenly turns awkward as Shizuyo uncharacteristically fumbles with her words. Did Ember tell you about this lead she has? Did she tell you? Yeah, she wanted me to come over, but I thought it was fishy, so I kind of made her explain why over the phone. I should have done the same. Then again, Ember was very hasty with her call in the morning. Yeah, it only had a few words to it, probably because she didn't want the same thing with Shizuyo to happen with me. Yeah, how are you feeling about all of that? I don't know. Exhaling loudly, I try to put my thoughts into words as I walk towards the bus stop. I don't think she meant any malice, just desperate, but that still doesn't sit well with me, so I left. I get that. You're not going to try and stop her. I think about it for a moment, then recall the look in Ember's eyes. I shake my head despite Shizuyo not being able to see. She made her choice. If I try to stop her, it'd only escalate further. Ember is short-tempered, everyone knows that. You're right, should we do something about it? I don't think so. I know she's strong, but nobody can do whatever she plans to do alone. She will try, I think, because she's stubborn enough for that. I hope she won't get into trouble for it, though. There's a sigh on the other end. I suppose. You really are too nice, Flare. Well, she's still our friend, isn't she? I might not support her decision, but I don't want her to be caught either. That's true, but I don't think she really has the club's best interests in mind. What do you mean? She can be quite unreasonable when disagreed with. She is stubborn, but aren't all of us? There's a bit of silence on the other end. So I've been looking into the cases a bit more seriously, and I think I have my own leads. As long as I'm not having to dig up anybody, I'm all ears. Shizuyo chuckles is without humour. Oh, trust me, unlike some people we know, I don't get by hunches, I have the paperwork to prove it. Her deadpan statement evaporates whatever lame joke I was about to spit out. Alright, do you want to bring that to the next club meeting, or is there going to be another secret? I like you, but you don't beat around the bush, do you, Flare? I have to confirm. I have to make sure everything is in my hands. When I do, I will contact you. Alright, I guess I'll see you later? Later. A foreboding feeling washes over me as the line goes dead. For a supposed club that was made to shine truth down upon shady cases, we sure do like to keep secrets to ourselves. There's no trusting among the members. Shizuyo doesn't trust Ember, Ember doesn't trust Emery, Emery doesn't trust anybody, nobody wants to include Chiharu in anything, and then there's me caught in the middle. Finally, as I ride the bus home, I can't shake the feeling that maybe, as we are now, we will never be able to solve the mysteries we have so foolishly barged into. When looking through the profiles, there's a change there because we visited Ember at her apartment. Like the skipping text stopped. So it must mean I went over something which I haven't gone through before. Skip to the end. I'm done. Ooh, this is quite interesting. There are some choices here which have been barred off because we were talking to... Oh, I get the reason, because I didn't get the USB sort of thing on hand, so that's been barred off. Talk about Ember. Warped. Recognize the eyes. I believe it. I pause, glancing between the documents to Shizuyo. It's crazy, it's absolutely crazy, but it's hard evidence. Isn't evidence what we've been looking high and low for? Yeah, Do you need a moment? I think I'll need a lot longer than just a moment. She flashes an eye, sympathetic. At least you still have your sense of humour. It's not every day you find evidence pointing to your club president being a werewolf or whatever she is. No use crying over spilled milk, I guess. No, I guess not. I heave out a long sigh. This is going to complicate things further. At least it explains how shifty she has been since the start. It's a pretty big secret to hide. Yeah, she has always been a bit of a recluse. Makes it easier to cover up and isolate. At this, Shizuyo suddenly pauses, then her face pales. I catch up to her train of thoughts fairly quickly, and I pale too. We are getting isolated. Emery is easy enough, she already isolates herself. I'm a bit more difficult, but she reeled me in with gaming hangouts. I do generally like spending time with you guys. You and Chiharu are new, so it's easy to get either one of you to hang out with her. Chiharu has been steadily becoming closer to Ember, and with the gaming sessions, so am I with Shizuyo. Ember is fun to be around with by nature. She can be a bit awkward, but that adds to her charms, and she doesn't have to try very hard to have people gravitate towards her. To think about it, Ember does try to get close as soon as we agree to be members of the club. I always thought that lunch invitation was abrupt. I should have known. She has a reputation of being difficult to approach at school. I was a bit surprised when I met her. I just guessed rumours were false as usual. No, fine. Shizuyo doesn't answer me at first, but when she does, it's a question, with a note of fear. Do you think Ember's directly involved with the murders? I flinch. My first instinct is to deny it. The words were halfway out of my mouth, but I choke on them. It's true. but there's no denying the possibilities. If Ember really is the beast these documents depict her to be, then she has all the motives in the world for the killings. She needs human flesh and souls to survive. The urge to throw up returns. This is getting too much. If that's true, then we all are possible targets. She uses the club to lure people in just like last year. We sink into heavy, dreadful silence. All possible scenarios run through my head like a distorted, horrifying movie. We signed our lives into this horror at the moment we agreed to be members of Ember's club. It's hard to believe, even with everything in front of me. I get it, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Exactly, Shizuyo. I get that too, but still, Ember is our friend. She wouldn't do that to us, right? Deep down I still want to believe all that Ember needs is a bit of contact, a bit of love. If everything Shizuyo showed me is true, then Ember has gone through a lot. She had suffered all her childhood, and then had her adopted parents take away from her as well. Yikes. Even if Ember is involved with the killings, perhaps with a bit of convincing, a bit of attention and compassion, we can turn her around. Maybe we can get her to admit it and atone for what she has done. Shizuyo stares at me, her expression turns from shocked to unreadable, and then completely closed off. You really are too soft and naive, aren't you? What do you mean, Shizuyo? Ember's still our friend. Is it wrong of me to still hope for the best? She scoffs. The sound oddly sounds like a spitting cat. Quickly, Shizuyo gathers up all the documents between us, shuffling them hastily into her bag. I'm sorry, but I'm interested in keeping my head attached to my body, not involved in any soap operas or sob stories. Shizuyo? Is this going to be the same as before where we get Ember's bad ending? Storms off and leaves. Ironic, wasn't I so firm on giving Ember the benefit of the doubt? Why am I now doubting my resolve? This again. No matter which way we go, we're gonna end up with this! What do we do? What do we do? Is this source reliable? Honestly, don't know what to think. Ember firmly glares down at her clasped hands, expression both furious and embarrassed is an odd mix, and it's so painfully obvious that she's conflicted to all hell. I heave out a long sigh. Is this source reliable? Yeah? Do you trust this source? Yeah, I trust them. Silence fills the gap between us. Alright, if you trust this source, then I trust you. Thanks, Flare. Now we could help her with the grave thing. We're gonna make a grave mistake. No, still doesn't help. Let's go back. This is possibly the worst option ever, but... Are you serious? It's not like I like it any more than you do. It's not about whether I like it or not. It's about it sounding completely unhinged. Fine, if you don't like it, then get the hell out. Really? Just because someone doesn't agree with you, they're instantly in the wrong? Wasn't asking for your opinion. Get out! So we're not going to get to that option of helping her out then. Taken aback by her anger and peed off because of her unreasonable attitude, I glare at Ember. Emery is right. You're just another type. Oh. You just activated a volcano there, protagonist. And just like that, her enraged screech is almost inhuman as she grabs him out and hurls it at me. I jump away bewildered. You're insane. And you are just like everyone else. Get out! Get out! Not waiting for her to try and actually hurt me, I take off running. Ember's screaming rings in my ear. She's mad. She sure is. Her heart fumbling my veins, I walk away from Ember's place. It's just unacceptable. The option that she presented me, if the lead required her to confirm in such a morbid way, it's obviously not worth it. But what if things aren't as terrible as it seems? What if a tip is right? What if nobody truly died? Yeah, right. We know. Ember's crazy. Swallowing dryly, I run an anxious hand through my hair. Honestly, I think she's completely out of it. Yeah, the whole idea is mad. Whoever thought of it must be a lunatic. You got that right. You're not going to follow her to the graveyard then? Of course not. That's why I left. And Ember just let you go? I don't think she's happy with it, but it's my choice, isn't it? She can't force me to do whatever crazy idea she has. Right. She's lucky I didn't call the police. Ugh, this is going to haunt me for the rest of my life now. You don't say. You know what? I'll call this bluff. I don't think she's going to do it. If she's crazy enough, I mean, she'd have gone ahead and done it, right? She only called us because she needed some sort of a reassurance. So now that nobody's going to back her up, hopefully Ember isn't going to try and be a gravedigger, hopefully. Yeah, we'll find that out later on with her bad ending. Probably, hopefully not. Well, she always seems, what's the word? Incredibly dependent. Yeah, you're right. She talks big, but she gets all defensive when people don't agree with her. Yep, low self-esteem at its finest. Shouldn't have joined this stupid club in the first place. Gah! Oh. I scream as the back of my neck is suddenly consumed by fiery pain. My phone clatters to the pavement with Shizuyo's frantic shouts. The shock to my system is in as a million searing needles exploding behind my eyelids and overtaking my mind with the sickening sizzles of my flesh. Gosh, this is definitely Ember. You should have walked away from the apartments before letting her be in ear reach. I collapsed, feeling my skin flaking away behind the burrowed veil of pain and tears. I could have sworn beastly paws enter my vision before agonizing darkness takes over. Gods, help me. Chapter 3. Damn it. Oh, this is not Chapter 3. We're here again. But this is not Chapter 3. It didn't load up with it. But let's see. Oh, thank heavens. Thank heavens what? Let's go. Hasn't abandoned the shrine due to the fire yet. Changes. Oh, it's a lot redder than last time. We managed to get through via the side entrance. By the time we approach the front yard, my vision starts blurring and my breathing becomes uneven. But that isn't even the worst part. The shrine seems deserted. But it's too red. Maybe they're back. What's going on now? I was right to trust my instinct. I should have never gotten close to her. My heart feels like it's just died in my chest. Ember, whatever she is now, turns to stare at us. Eyes burning in canine's bread. Barred, she snarls at us. Mismatched eyes flare in hatred as they meet mine. Different circumstances, but the same ending. You know, this good ending of Shizuyo's, it's going to be pretty difficult. I have something interesting here to discuss. With this option here, you have either the choice to side with Ember or Emery, or ask a few questions, where it kind of really angered Emery because in that it says that we decide that Emery is right about the whole supernatural thing. What do you think the cause of this incident was? And then Emery says that it's a dark entity involved in the murder. And then, do you think the curse has anything to do with it? Everyone was suddenly surprised, and then our protagonist here is kind of just slamming on Emery for not doing her duty properly. So this could be a way, an instigation against Emery, which is why she just told us to be silent. So that in a way could mean something. But then again, it's probably just me being silly. Another thing I just discovered, and this I think is dependent on the choice that you made during the school, is whether you have one or two different options to pick. Not like deny or humor her, but there was another option as well about like her demonic form sort of thing, or something about demons and stuff like that, about the family saying that like One is hers to be the heir of the family, and the other is, in this occasion, not encountered before, so they probably just judged Shizuyo as the demon. So therefore, the choice that you make in school, and I believe it has something to do with whether you think the school is closed, whether you think the library is closed, or it's something to do with the fact that if Shizuyo knows that we have somebody in our minds rather than saying, no, there's nobody, then maybe Shizuyo would have backed off when it came to the second question. But also, she didn't give you that evil face, which she normally does when she whisks away that bully. Monday comes around too early. In addition to all the stuff at the club, exam season is almost here, and I'm definitely not ready for it. As I drag myself over the school's threshold, I spot Chiharu around in a corner. Catching up, I put a hand on her slumped shoulder. Hey, you okay? Flare! I'm okay. We fall into steps. A companionable silence blankets us. Chiharu seems to have a lot on her mind, and I know interrupting her train of thought right now would only make her fluster, so I wait patiently for her to speak first. And if that includes accompanying Chiharu home, well, that would be an added bonus. Flare? Yeah? Do you still think it's a good idea to have everyone together for the vacation? Oh, this is going off course here. I'm trying to look for Shizuyo's good ending, not go there, which was in the one end route. We're currently on what I feel like is the one ending. And this is a phone call I don't recognise. Groggily, I film around my nightstand, grumbling at the suddenly too bright screen. It's fucking 3 AM! Who the hell would call at such a ridiculous hour? Answer. Right. Rumbling my face, I answer the phone. Chiharu? Okay. You sure did. No, this completely went off course. Choosing neither Ember or Emery's led us down this path, but it could also be because we chose the cooking route rather than just... Okay, that is definitely the one end route. Didn't mean to go at this point. I couldn't get a choice to get to Emery's door as well, so... Oh dear. So that's the end of this episode. A little bit of a worry about the current build of this game presented out on the 23rd of July. I have a sneaking suspicion that Shizuyo's good ending route is locked out unintentionally by the developers of the game. So if that is the case, then hopefully the Discord will get to the bottom of it. But I am not sure at all on the requirements of getting to Shizuyo's good ending route. It's a huge labyrinth, if I must say so myself. So far, we have established a few things. Number one, we can get to Shizuyo's bad ending, no problem. And then we can get to Shizuyo's / Ember's bad ending, no problem. But the problem with that is that those are the only two endings that we can get to. Now, Shizuyo's and Ember's bad endings, there are two variations to it. Number one, where everything around you, aside to characters, are red. And the other variation, which I think is a more autumny variation, is where everything is not covered with red. So I think that in itself could be like their own endings, but at the same time it could just be their own variations. Like, one of them is more pursued on the lines of Shizuyo's path, the autumn variation, whereas with Ember's being the red / blood variation of that bad ending outcome. So treat it as you will, but I still think that Shizuyo's good ending is unintentionally locked out for the time being. Hopefully that gets resolved. But thank you all so much for watching, guys. And we shall see each other in the next time of Missing Time, where we're going to be pursuing Emery's route. Have a wonderful day and take care of yourselves.